proudly America's favorite sport on WHBQ television.
Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hales and special guests.
It's a big show. It's a really big show. Talking Memphis Wrestling throughout the show. We have a show running thread, and that thread, we have a graphic to back it up right now, is we are going to take a look at Macho Man Randy Savage, his debut, his career, leading up to the Loser Leave Town match in Memphis, Tennessee. A great subject, a fantastic subject, as we were talking about Randy Macho Man Savage, one of the all-time greats, a WWE Hall of Famer, just a fantastic, unbelievable, great wrestling talent, and there is absolutely no doubt about that in the world, and we can't wait to talk about Randy Macho Man Savage. Hey, it's first aid time. We're going to start with Dr. William Rusty Robinson, and at that point, Adam, if you'll take me off the screen, confusion with Pat, I've got to send him an email, so we'll go with Dr. Robinson. We'll say hello to Dr. Robinson. We'll say hello to the great doctor, the good doctor. We will say hello to the owner, founder, and president of the Good Doctor Recommends podcast. Don't forget, do your first take and throw it to Chris.
Got it. All right. The first take tonight from beautiful Orange Beach, Alabama, where we're back in the studio, is that for the two-lane green wave, it is so bright on this side of the street right now, you have to wear shades after Tulane has gone 3-0, beating two Power 5 teams. So we've been real excited about it. We were there this past Saturday and had a great time. From the wrestling side of things, my first take is that Randy Savage is one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. I can remember seeing him as far back as, I guess, the late 70s in his father's promotion, in Kentucky and Middle Tennessee. And then when he came to Memphis in the early 80s, I guess, to work with Jerry Lawler and the Jarrett promotion. And I always thought, even then, I knew this guy is going to be one of the best ever. When I pick out my Mount Rushmore of wrestlers, Randy is either fourth or fifth. I go back and forth on that. My top three would be Jerry Lawler, Ric Flair, Terry Funk, and then my fourth one for the Mount Rushmore is either Randy Macho Man Savage or American Dream Dusty Rhodes. And I go back and forth on those two, but I would go either way. I would certainly take Randy Savage as one of the greatest of all time, one of the most exciting, certainly, one of the most unique. I mean, his approach to it was just, out of this world at the time. You just knew Randy was really that intense. It was for real with Randy. But anyway, I'm doing good. Everybody's good at the doctor's studio. The Blues Doctor will have his podcast coming out tonight at midnight. We're going to do a little remembrance, basically, of my buddy, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, who died last week and is one of the premier investigators in the Bigfoot phenomenon. So we'll talk a little bit about that tonight on the Blues Doctor podcast. And that's my first take, basically. I think we have waiting for us for the first take tonight is our good buddy Chris Ellis, who is from Arkansas, which is another one of my favorite places. I used to live in Arkansas for a while, so I can appreciate that. So good evening, Chris. What's your first take tonight?
Well, I'm going to comment on what you said about Savage first. What a great athlete. And watching him come off the top rope with the elbow and even down to the floor, he was amazing to watch when he first came in, and of course the ceiling was no telling what. You knew he was going to be great and could go as far as he wanted to go in the wrestling world. But my first take actually occurred 51 years ago on this date. 51 years ago, my Papa Luster took me to Memphis to the Coliseum for the very first time in my life to see Jerry Lawler versus Jack Briscoe for the World Heavyweight Championship. I'll never forget it. There it is right there. I'll never forget it. My birthday's on September 8th, and he took me to this show. It was my first time to go to the Coliseum. Of course, I'd only read about Jack Briscoe in the wrestling magazines because you look through them at the grocery store while Mom was buying groceries. And I'll never forget that it cost us less than $20 to go because we had the $4 tickets. That's $8. And we got a hot dog and a Coke. That was $4 more a piece. So for that was 12. Then gas was probably $4 to go. So my papa probably had change left over from going to that event. But I'd always loved wrestling. He took me every Saturday to the Legion Hut. And then I got to go to the Coliseum that Monday. And man, I was so fired up. And that I was hooked for life at 8 years old after going to the Coliseum.
All right, I thought I'd that's a fantastic story. And Adam, if you could put that great graphic up there again, and I will tell you the card on September the 16th, 1974. No, it's not just the battle of the century. No, it's not just the first Jerry Lawler, Jack Briscoe match, first time ever. But yes, it was Chris Ellis's first time for wrestling at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee on September 16th, 1974. The best money gate in the history of Memphis wrestling up to that time, 10,125 people. The opening match was George Gulas against Jim Lancaster. Robert Fuller beat Dennis Hall. Lou Thez against Don Green. I would have loved, that would be the second most match that I'd want to see there, except the Fargos, Roughouts, or Jackie Fargo and Tojo Yamamoto against the Bounty Hunters, Al Green and Phil Hickerson against Eddie Marlin and Tommy Gilbert, and for the NWA World title, Jack Briscoe against Jerry the King Lawler. Just a fantastic, fantastic night, Chris. I am jealous of the fact, Chris Ellis, right before we get Pat on, but I'm jealous of the fact that Chris Ellis was able to see that. I'm sure Rusty is just as mad as me, but that's a great little graphic that we showed right there to start talking Memphis wrestling.
Well, it was great to get to be there, and you were right, Randy. The other thing I remember about that night is Don Green wrestled Lou Thez, and I had no idea. I mean, obviously, I'd never seen Lou Thez. Being a kid, you had heard about Lou Thez. Of course, I liked Don Green, and he lost to Lou Thez. And then that's the first night I ever remember seeing Phil Hickerson, who later became one of my favorite wrestlers. I always loved Phil Hickerson. But it was, I'd always loved it. And like I said, we went every Saturday to the Legion Hut. Then we go home and watch roller derby. RH, you can probably remember that.
Absolutely.
And then when I got to go to the Coliseum, oh my gosh, that was it. Like I was over the top. And then now we didn't get to go that often because it wasn't like it is now when we had the I-555 running over there. It was 2-lane road back in the day.
So I was going to say, Chris, how long did it take you to get from where you are to the Coliseum, or where you were then to the Coliseum?
In the old days, probably an hour and 45 minutes. And now you can make it about an hour, can't you, Randy?
Hour and 10.
Hour and 10, yeah. But back in the day, it was all 2-lane.
Right.
It took a while to get there. So, it was a big thrill, and it's a great memory for me to think about. It's 51 years ago. That's what's mind-boggling.
Hard to believe.
Yeah, you're old, Chris. You're old.
Yeah, thanks, all right.
This person on this screen. That's what's sick. Yeah. Hey, His home is in Alabama. They had a big victory as these two guys, all they've been talking about in the private chat when I was trying to get some work done, all I could see is Tulane football, this football, that football. But the man whose home's in Alabama, he's proud of Alabama. He spends most of his time in Alabama. I'm proud, I'm happy, I'm thrilled. The original co-host, the OG of this show, ladies and gentlemen, from Alabama, our man, Mr. Patrick.
Baker.
Call him dad, some people call him husband. I call him my friend. Here's Pat freaking Trammell. Hey, Pat, what's
Well,
going on there in Alabama?
if I'd known I was going to get that, I would have shaved. My goodness, thank you, thank you. Well, it is football season for sure, but I guess my Crimson Tide's redeemed themselves a little bit, but we'll see how it goes. It is good to be with everybody. It's been a long week and a long day, but I'm glad to be among my wrestling family. And this is interesting. And Randy, I don't know if you saw this today. Somebody posted that picture of Lawler and Briscoe on Twitter.
That's where I stole it from, Pat. What do you think? Let's
Okay,
just expose my
Kentucky
business.
Wild Man guy. Okay. I didn't know we were going to talk about it, but Rusty was talking about his Mount Rushmore. It would be hard for me to keep Jack Briscoe out off of Mount Rushmore of mine. That guy
True.
was so good, so good. It's good to see everybody. It's interesting, and I feel like I've been cheated a little bit, but I've been able to pick it back up. The first time, I guess I saw Randy Savage in Georgia a little bit, and then, he kind of blew open in New York. And, to me, WWF and WWE of that time was a little cartoonish. And I thought Randy was a little cartoonish. But I love going back, as I have in past years, and watching his old work in Memphis. And Chris, I agree with everything you said. There's very, very few people can work a match like Randy Savage and be as physical and be as fast in the ring. And I'm excited. We're going to spend some time diving into his career today.
All
I don't
right.
know if RH,
And
I don't know if RH can remember it, but we used to have a UHF channel 30 in Jonesboro, and you could get the old territory that Angelo owned on that channel a little bit. You had to get the antenna right and all that to kind of what. So that was my first introduction. So I will never forget when he came to Memphis out on TV, and I mean, all they ever talked to, they badmouthed the Memphis guys all the time. So when you saw him come out on live TV, you thought it was legit. Like he's come here to wreak havoc on Lawler and Dundee and all those guys because that's all they ever talked about was we're going to, do whatever. And I mean, he was I didn't know it at the time. Obviously, a former professional baseball player, so he was a tremendous athlete.
Yeah. I want to interrupt just a minute and say hello to my good friend Ahmad. It's been a while since I've seen you and been thinking about you. So glad you're here, and all our regulars, PJ and Thomas and Donnie and others. Good to see you too. But I did want to say hello to Ahmad.
ICW, USWA, CWA Wrestling was at odds. Outlaw promotion run by Angelo Lanny and Randy Poffo, big heated feud, guns pulled, all kind of stuff going on. It was a crazy, crazy matter that took place. But however, ICW going out of business. Lanny Poffo went to Bill Watts. Finally, Randy Savage made the call. He went through Bill Watts. Bill Watts called Jerry Jarrett. They had a match at the Mid-South Coliseum. It was thrown out. It was a good crowd at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee. And now we are going to go to our first video of the day, and that's Randy Savage's WMC debut. This has been shown before on this show. It's very interesting. and it's 6 minutes and 39 seconds. And it's Memphis Wrestling, the debut at WMC TV at 6 minutes 39 seconds. As Talking Memphis Wrestling is up and running, ready to go. And here we go with that video.
He got a 1 count and then realized that it was a choke. Stopped it immediately. Again, Reaper into the ropes. Draper body slam. What is A-Team? Big, powerful. They've got some moves.
One of my
too.
favorite tag teams, Roger and Don. No matter what incarnation
Ripper off the
we're in.
rope. Oh, look out.
That hurt him, yep.
Get the camera on me right now.
Randy Savage.
Here we go.
Hey, camera on me right now. That's it, right there. 4 years, baby. 4 years. You know who you're talking to right now? You know who you're talking to right now? The Macho Man Randy Savage. And I ain't being under no longer, no. 4 years, man. Where's Lawler? Get him out of here right now. Get him out of here right now. Get him out of here right now. You stand back. You stand back, man. Don't tell me nothing, man. Don't tell me nothing, man. Don't tell me nothing. I'm the world heavyweight champion. 4 years, 8 months, 13 days. Get the king out of here. Come on. Get the king out of here right now.
Memphis TV, it was on my birthday, December the 10th, December the 10th, 1983. You're referring to the match that Savage debuted against Memphis Strong, 8,102 people on December the 5th, 1983. Lawler beat Savage by disqualification. The semifinal match was the Fabulous Ones against the Road Warriors. So a big card, Pat Trammell, on December the 5th. And here is the debut of Randy Savage.
A-Team up there ends up with a win.
A-Team has won. Match is ended. A-Team has won.
You ain't never met nobody like me. You got that right. I want to
Never met nobody like me.
put it down. Hey, listen, we don't have to put up with you around here on that thing. Hey, let's take a break. Just go to a break. Take it right now.
Oh man, he's so good. Boy, you could absolutely believe he was just nuts. He was crazy. He was, unpredictable.
Absolutely unpredictable. Pat, I'm sure you've seen this before.
I have. It's been a while.
You're grinning ear to ear.
I love it.
What do you think, Chris?
Oh, he's tremendous. And I remember seeing it the first time thinking this guy is nuts. That's what I was thinking in 1983.
Yeah, I remember seeing it live on TV on that Saturday morning also.
You know why?
He was shaking that right hand when he was talking like he had a tick or something.
I am the best in the world. Let me tell you something right now. Lawler knocked my dad, yeah. Okay, yeah, give him the thing. But you know what? If Jerry Lawler's dad was alive, you know what he would tell him? He would tell him not to get into the steel cage with me. Well, he would tell him not to get in. No. He would tell him not to get in the steel cage. Watch it, man.
Now, you said what you wanted to say. I'll tell you something. If you don't get out of this studio, I'm going to call the police in here and get you out of here.
Lance getting involved.
Lance getting worked up.
So we'll get the police down here.
My buddy, best friend from another mother, Randy Dandy, the best cameraman and video producer that I work with in the wrestling business. Randy West is in the house. Hey, Randy Dandy. Ahmad was 3 years old, Pat. When this took place in 83, how old were you, old man?
I was 21.
In 83,
Yep.
I was 17.
I was
That's
20.
in 83, I was 24, I guess.
Doing some damage here.
That elbow, it's the best elbow
Yep.
there is. Savage off the top rope with that elbow. Amazing.
I like Bobby Eaton's elbow better.
I was going to say I like Bobby Eaton's too, but I like that. I like Bobby Eaton's leg drop off the top rope.
Yeah.
And his knee drop was good as well.
Yeah.
This is
Bobby was just
crazy.
good, period.
Angelo Popo counting out for Randy Savage, the Macho Man. Henry Rutledge and the Pink Panther both hit with a pile driver by the Macho Man.
Well, Henry and the Pink Panther could say they were body slammed by a world champion.
Proved to me is that when Lawler's not around here, you come in here and jump.
Long segment here, but man,
We don't need any more.
it is great.
Angelo, let's get him out of here now. Because Bruce Rutledge is coming up.
That's the thing about those guys that work the TV. They can say they were in the ring with some super big names in this business. I mean, you can tell your kids about it, show video, your grandkids. You know, here I am in the ring with Macho Man Randy Savage. That's pretty impressive.
Like that make every punk around think they can come in and
Listen to Lance as he continues to tell the story.
I'm not supposed to be prejudiced, but I just can't wait. I just absolutely cannot wait until the action gets underway when the King gets a hold of this guy. I just can't believe it.
You talk about promoting the event. Lance had so much credibility, and everybody respected Lance. For him to be that pissed, everybody's going to go, I want to go see this because Lance is fired up.
Let me flip over to I'm going to get away from this glass, Dave. Maybe we can get this stuff cleaned up. Throw it up Monday night.
All right, we come right back, and before we get into the photos of the day, we got Chris Ellis, we got Dr. Robinson, we got Pat freaking by God Trammell in the house wearing his great little cap. He's in Birmingham, Alabama. We're glad to have everybody here, but we got to do some talking Memphis wrestling business right now. I did a little bit of it in messaging. Next Tuesday night, ORH will not be able to do a Talking Memphis Wrestling. So I can do it either Monday or Wednesday. Now, Doc can't do Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Michael St. John can't do Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Now, again, I can do Monday or Wednesday a Talking Memphis Wrestling. Pat and Chris, what's your schedule like next week? Because if I have to, Adam's got his studio about 97% ready. So if we have to, we have to. And I'd love to have Adam done back on the air, but you guys love to have them as well. So your choice as we're conducting Talking Memphis Wrestling Business. Pat, we'll start with you next Monday or next Wednesday for Talking Memphis Wrestling.
One is as good as the other.
I have school board meeting Monday, so Wednesday's best for me.
All right. Is that okay with you?
Yes, sir.
All right. And Adam will be in Memphis, Tennessee next week, so he will be able to produce, I would assume, but he will not be able to be on the air. But so everybody, Pat Trammell and Chris Ellis decided this, and Dr. Robinson, took it. You took your stuff.
I'll do the best I can. I might be able to get there Wednesday, and I'll try.
Ahmad says Monday, but that Monday doesn't work for Chris, and we'll go. It's in the archive. You can always watch the thing. So on Wednesday we will do it. We're still waiting, as far as I know. There he is. We decided next Wednesday, because Tuesday's out. Next Wednesday we had the first take, and I'm going to do some quick things so Michael St. John will know what in the hell we were talking about. The first take of Mr. Ellis was celebrating a show 51 years ago, and verbally, if we could put that up there. And once again, Chris, tell Michael St. John the significance of this match on September the 16th, 51 years ago, and how it relates to your life.
So Michael, my Papa Luster, my first ever visit to the Mid-South Coliseum for wrestling was this show for my 8th birthday 51 years ago on this date. It was obviously on a Monday, not a Tuesday. It's my first time to ever go to the Coliseum. I'd been to the Legion hunt every Saturday, but I finally got to go to the Coliseum. It was a huge deal in an 8-year-old's life. I'll never forget it. And of course, it's the biggest crowd. I mean, Jonesboro had 20-something thousand people in it at the time, but there was 10,000 people in one building. I'd never seen anything like that in my entire life. And I was hooked for life after that. That was the biggest deal ever in my lifetime. So, and that 51 years, it's hard to believe.
All right, there we go. For the second time, he repeats his first steak. You got Pat freaking Trammell. You got William Dr. Ree Robinson. Dr. William Rusty Robinson is in the house. And now, ladies and gentlemen, across the state from Pat freaking Trammell, he is in another part of Alabama. He's close to Huntsville, Alabama. Now, I'm not going to call Michael. I'm not going to call you the pride of Huntsville, Alabama, because that goes to our friend, the late, great, beautiful Bobby Eaton. But the most decorated radio personality in the entire state of Alabama. He is a big part of talking Memphis wrestling. And by the way, that link you told me was still working does not work. That was the old link. Adam checked and had the stuff up from last year's Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame. Tell him last time when we had that new opening, it was a Twitch link. The opening was a Twitch link, and still we had to do an old link. But nonetheless, our good, close, personal friend, he's in Alabama as well, as I keep saying. First take time, Michael St. John.
Hey, guys. First take. Hi, everybody. Hey, is the link working, Randy? Because Chad called me about a minute before I went on and said it should be working now. So.
Well, it wasn't working 5 minutes before. Adam can investigate that right now, and he'll write us a comment. But Adam, right before we went on the show, but it might have been 5 minutes, was not. We'll work on that. And the other thing that I want to tell you, Michael, is we already had a talk about it. It's been decided next week's Talking Memphis Wrestling will not be on Tuesday. It'll be on Wednesday. But you will be in Music City, USA country, right?
Absolutely. We're starting our project up there on moving our towers. Well, actually, we're not moving a tower. We're moving a couple of antennas, and project gets started on Wednesday. So looking forward to that. It's been a very eventful week since I last saw you. And, of course, Saturday was football crazy around these parts. I had Joshua from Friday night. He did the ball game with me, stayed in the press box with me Friday night, and stayed right on up until Sunday morning. And we watched a lot of football. It's really funny to watch a 6-year-old starting to understand the game and get what a turnover is and what an interception is and what it takes to get a first down. He's starting to learn that. But the big news I have, and this is regarding him, is last night he became the first 6-year-old this year to join a group here called Arab Youth Wrestling.
Hey,
and now on the he's doing the wrestling theme thing, and I've ordered him a mask, and I got a chain that I found back in the garage from a long time ago, and I told him that this weekend, if he came over to watch football, I showed him how to throw the fire like Jerry Lawler.
Hey, you're corrupting him already. That's your job.
Amen. That's my job. So anyway, I told his mother and I told his dad, I said, it's really going to be funny the first match when he gets down and he slips the guy into the figure four, because he knows how to set the figure four. So, we're looking for some high comedy of Joshua wrestling. But anyway, that's the big news from here.
What else do you have going on? I'm sure you have other stuff going on. You always have stuff going on. You already told us about Joshua. You told us about the radio business, certainly in the wrestling business. You've been watching any wrestling lately? The only thing I can tell you is controversial decision, Michael, that WrestleMania 2027 is leaving the United States for the first time ever, and it's going to Saudi Arabia. Your thoughts on that, Michael, and we'll get thoughts from the rest of the panel.
Well, let's unpack this a little bit. It's the World Wrestling Federation, and they are now, of course, they're publicly traded. They are now owned by somebody bigger and better than what they were, that on the world scope, most definitely. So for them, this is, I think, long overdue to come out of the country. I'll be honest with you, and I know it is a big boom. You know, Nashville is building a brand new dome stadium next to another stadium that they've only been in 25 years. And they're building it literally in the parking lot. And one of the reasons that they gave for building it is they want to attract a Super Bowl, they want to attract the Final Four, and they want to attract WrestleMania. So, you know, when cities are making that kind of multi-billion-dollar effort to bring these kind of sporting events to their town, think of what it must do for the economy. So I really personally thought that Vince would have taken it offshore. And I thought, to be honest with you, I thought the first place would be Japan. That would have been if I'd have been a guessing man or a betting man, I would have bet that they would have put it in Japan, perhaps maybe after that Mexico. But follow the money trail on this. And the money trail is Saudi Arabia and the Middle East, the oil-producing Middle East states and countries. So it wasn't a big surprise to me, controversial. They've been over there, they've been doing shows over there, 10 years now, 8 years now?
Yes.
The Von Erichs did shows in Israel way back when. There were tours when Sam Munchnick and had his champions. I know back in the days of Kaniski and Dory Funk and those guys, they were going to Japan, they were going to Australia, they were going to Germany, they were going to England, even back in those days. So I don't think it's, I think it's more people saying, Saudi Arabia, Arab country, that all that stigma. I think that's probably what the brouhaha is more about. But follow the money trail, and that's what WrestleMania, and that's what it's all about. And it doesn't surprise me, but I do think leaving the country, no matter where it went, leaving the country is long overdue.
I would have thought the United Kingdom right now, Michael, when I get the panel's reaction to WrestleMania going to Saudi, I want you to look at the private chat because Michael or Adam has words about the feed from the fun stations and what we're seeing instead of the Twitch thing. So we'll take a look at that, and we'll bring in the rest of the panel right now to talk about WrestleMania 2027. 2027 going to Saudi, and let's start with money guy Pat Trammell that always has thoughts about that. And so Pat, if we can get your comments on that.
Well, I share a lot of Michael's comments, but if you look at the economics today, it's not necessarily about how many people you put in the stadium. Although I think, as you know, I've been to a WrestleMania before in Houston, and the house draw for that is unbelievable. But so much of it is the pay-per-view money now, and what they get off of that. So the goal is not just to fill a stadium up; it's to make it a spectacle that everybody's going to want to watch, and everybody's going to tune into that TV as much as anything. And the bigger you get to, the bigger it becomes a spectacle, the more people watch it, and that's what the business is and was and always has been about.
Now, let me clarify one thing. I think you do know this, but pay-per-view in the traditional sense has gone away. Saudi pays billions of dollars to use the WWE. So it's certainly a money situation, but no pay-per-view anymore.
Randy, I have to pay-per-view because I don't have streaming. I have to pay for it.
But so you can't get the network, Pat?
No. I've got regular cable, so I have to do pay-per-view.
That's a very small percentage.
Yeah, well, but
DirecTV and Dish do it too, by the way.
Do what, Pat?
there's a revenue share on how many people are watching it, even with the streaming services.
Argue with me then.
No, I'm not arguing with you.
Yes, you were. Chris and Doc.
Okay, I was.
No, you didn't. Maybe
Well,
you did for earlier in the day. I take that back.
I compare it to golf. LIV golf, the Saudis paid gazillion dollars to get the top golfers to come and play some kind of, just for lack of a better term, gimmicky form of tournament, but to get all the top names in the draw. And I've said this in my whole adult life, there's nothing $100 bills can't fix. So you got, like Michael said, follow the money stream. They'll have it on Mars if somebody on Mars will go pay for it.
Before we go with Rusty with that comment, I'm putting up a comment on the air, and Michael, explain who this is and what is he saying. I think this basically is a private chat about the streaming issues with this show. Who is Pro Star Radio?
It is. It should have been in the private chat sector. That is our IT guy, and that is regarding that. I just sent him a note of where the private chat is on this.
All right. So starting next week, we'll be rocking and rolling and ready to go for sure. Chad is in the house as well, and we appreciate all he does to make this show worldwide. Michael St. John.
Randy, I just want a couple of our listeners have chimed in on this WrestleMania going abroad thing. And Joe is asking how protected are the wrestlers when they go abroad. And I don't think the Secret Service is aboard, but I do think there is enough private security that I've heard that the WWE or the company that owns them now spends upwards of $2 million just in security for the wrestlers, both on their way to the event and at the event. And so I don't think security being provided is an issue. Of course, it's always dangerous. I'm not one during this period in our world that wants to go globe hopping right now, just the fact that Americans sort of all have a target on their back. But I think from a security standpoint, I would say he's probably more secure than the Pope or the president. The wrestlers are probably as secure as the Pope and the president when they go abroad.
What I remember from Jerry Lawler, the first time he and Jim Ross went to Saudi, they gave them almost a book worth of rules. You can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. And they took it real serious because their form of punishment is not like Michael being in the county jail. They'll behead your ass. Excuse me, Chris, I forget you're older sometimes.
Behead your ass. If you got your head up your ass.
Right, that's for sure. Very interesting. Any other comments you want to address there, Michael?
No, I just think it's I'd love to hear more comments from the fans. And now this year, if I'm not mistaken, it's in New Orleans?
No,
it was taken away from New Orleans. It's back in Las Vegas.
It's in Vegas.
Go ahead, Rusty.
Go ahead,
they just announced, I guess, a couple of months ago now, that after having been planned to be in New Orleans for a couple of years, and we'd already had two WrestleManias here before that had been very successful. It was a surprise to a lot of people in New Orleans that they pulled out. And again, it was purely because of, finances. They made so much money apparently in Las Vegas last year that they figured, New Orleans just couldn't come close. And I'm sure that's probably true, which is also why I was not particularly surprised that they went out of the country, or they put WrestleMania out of the country for that year. They're, as you said, a privately owned company. So their first obligation is to the shareholders, which means they are obligated to generate as much profit as they possibly can. So that's why they're doing it. I think the controversy has been that they're doing it, as you said, in Saudi Arabia rather than somewhere else. I think another nation, like in Europe or, the UK or something, might have been less distasteful to a lot of people than Saudi Arabia is. I listened to Jim Cornette's podcast on this topic a day or two ago, and he said that the Saudis guaranteed the WWE $100 million just up front for WrestleMania this year, on top of what however much they generate once they get there. So, like I said, I guess I'm not surprised. It seems like Saudi Arabia maybe is trying to buy their way out of their bad moral,
Publicity.
Yeah,
Well,
publicity. So I guess they are. So
well, and I'm a horse racing fan. My wife is very big into it, and they have been the big player in horse racing this entire century. I mean, the guy that owns the only Triple Crown winner in the 21st century was the Saudi prince. Nice guy, by the way. But I mean, they westernize, even though they're an Arab country or a Muslim-based country. They westernize what they do when they come in our country, and they're bringing some of the Western culture over to that. I'm being told, I have a friend that went to Qatar last Christmas, and he said that now, was it Qatar? What's that independent state, Pat? You'll know that they built all these 110-foot high rises, and they built islands in what was a gulf or an ocean.
Is that UAE?
Yeah, United Arab Emirates. That's it. And he went. I forget the name. The biggest city there, and he said it was like being in New York City on steroids. He said it was totally westernized.
Pat, I have a question for you that you can explain to the panel and explain to our audience here that TKO announced yesterday, and I don't know anything about the stock market, that sort of the thing, and I want to read this opening line, and you tell me what it means to the WWE business. It says TKO is repurchasing $1 billion worth of stock. What does that mean, Pat?
That just means that they are buying, making an investment in the owned company. They probably got a lot of stock, and in theory, that will make the stock on the stock market more valuable because there's less of it out there. And so probably.
So they're just basically buying up more stock, then, Pat. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They're buying it back into the treasury. And what that tells you is they don't foresee the need for a lot of cash in the near future.
Right.
To do anything with. They've got plenty of cash, so they're reinvesting it in the company in that way.
Very interesting stuff. We've spent the first 43 minutes of great stuff here on Talking Memphis Wrestling. It's time right now for the photos of the day. So once we show something, quick takes around the corner, and unless it's something they don't cover, I will not cover and except to identify. 4534. These are some rugged son of a guns. In the picture that we will show to start off with, this is Dick the Bruiser and the Crusher, starting with Chris Ellis. Quick take.
Yeah, they were big in the Midwest. Big.
Okay, we'll go to William Robinson.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree with Chris. My in-laws, in fact, were from the Cleveland, Ohio, and Pittsburgh area, where Dick the Bruiser was very big. But he would love to talk about going around drinking beer and carrying around the dollies around, like the sort of the Eastern European immigrants to that area. So he was very popular in the old industrial Midwest.
Pat Trammell, Dick the Bruiser, and the Crusher, they look like two bad beer drinking, whiskey drinking, cigar smoking dudes. As you start talking, we'll show our audience that picture again. Two rough looking dudes. Here's Pat Trammell.
At home in any VFW, from the Mississippi River to the Atlantic Ocean, and from the Mississippi River to East Texas. I mean, that is a mid-century strong guy that's probably never touched a weight in his life.
Michael St. John, Bruiser, and Crusher.
Well, first of all, you asked for a first take. My first take is, oh my God, they had hair. Because when I started watching them, they were shaved bald. I got to actually meet Dick the Bruiser. He came down to one of Nick's shows right after Nick. I started working with Nick, and I was amazed at how short he was. I was taller than I was 6 foot, and he's about 5'9", 5'8.5", 5'9", but very wide. I don't know, Pat. He looks like he's been doing some kind of work out there. He's pretty buff for that day and age.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, for as many push-ups as he did, I bet he drank that many beers that night.
Yep.
For sure. Next picture, and we'll let Michael St. John lead off. Then we'll go with Pat, then Chris. And this is a announcing related thing. Hopefully, Michael can identify the announcer, which I can, but I'm going to let Michael do it. But I do not have a clue where this was recorded at. Remember, then we'll go, as soon as Michael gets through, we'll go with Pat. And in the meantime, I'm getting me some sweet tea. Michael, who the heck are we looking at right now on our television?
I know both of these guys, and I can't remember the guy in the plaid jacket, but the lead commentator at this point for Nick Goulas was Lynn Rossi.
Let me help you out. Christine Jarrett's nephew, does that give you a hint?
I still can't remember his name.
Mike Duncan.
My God, I should have known that. This is a channel, well, it's either Channel 8 or Channel 2, which are the same station. They just swapped channels. This is in the studio, and that was a backdrop. And if this were a 360-degree picture, if we could make a right-hand turn, you would have seen that wrestling drawing of the NWA with the two wrestlers grappling on with the world in the outline behind it. But this is when Lynn was doing the commentary, and Mike Duncan was the ring announcer. And I guess he may have done some color as well, but he was the ring announcer back then.
So, Michael, was this in Birmingham?
No, Nashville.
Oh, okay.
The studios of Channel 8 on Murfreesboro Road, and the hotel, the motel right next to it. And I'm having a senior moment. I can see the sign and it's not the Drake, but it was one of these motels with the outdoor entrances, and all the boys that would stay at that motel or the one across the street. And I think Nick had a rule that the baby faces had to stay at one, the heels at the other. And then the next week they swapped, and the heels had the better one, and whatever the case may be. There were some weird rules about that back then.
Next picture, and we'll start with Pat Trammell on this one. And Pat, I think you'll enjoy that. And we'll go around the horn with Pat. Then Pat, you throw to Rusty. Rusty, you throw to Chris. And Chris, you throw to Michael. And Pat, here we go.
That is Harry Thornton in Chattanooga, Tennessee, with a very, very young, I'll say a very young Michael Hayes, but a very much younger Terry Gordy. Terry's probably 18 there. The first Fabulous Freebirds before Buddy Roberts. And were they calling themselves the Freebirds then?
At this point, they were not. I think we dealt with that last week on Talking Memphis Wrestling. And Michael, Adam is asking the question, is this Channel 12 WDEF TV?
Yes, it is. And that backdrop is the same backdrop that was at the other picture at Channel 2. That's the backdrop I was talking about. And that's the same backdrop. It's a different shade, but that art card on the back is that same logo. But that's Harry Thornton. He was the morning man on WDEF AM radio. He had a show in the morning that was #1 in Chattanooga for a long time, and only to be eclipsed by Luther Massengale. But Harry was a very popular, and you can see he hasn't lifted any weights in his life either. But, and I'm sure that coat he bought new probably somewhere around 1947 or 48, and he still wore it on TV. You know what I love about this picture with Michael and Terry? They've got the winged belts on. The NWA, at one point, the NWA World Tag Team Championship belt mimicked the belt that Harley Race had, and before him, Dory Funk had, and before that, Gene Kiniski had. The original NWA, 16 pounds of gold. So they mimicked those belts, and those are actually the NWA World Heavyweight Championship belts back then.
All right, as we're just quick thoughts from Chris first, then Dr. Robinson.
Well, I was always a big fan of the Freebirds. They were very young getting started. Of course, they accelerated quickly to the top. And then I've seen a lot of Harry Thornton on video, and I guess I had to grow up in Chattanooga to have a greater appreciation for him because I didn't think he was that good.
How about you, Doc?
You know, we talked a lot about the Freebirds, Gordy and Hayes, last week in their debut in Memphis, and they were, in fact, calling themselves the Freebirds then. So I would assume that this picture precedes the time when they came to Memphis, because apparently they weren't calling themselves Freebirds at that point, even though they had the same, look, same everything. And I was surprised at those title belts. So, Michael, you said that's the NWA World Tag Title belts.
Right, and they were mimicking made just like the NWA World Heavyweight Championship belts.
Wow.
Chris, you have anything to say about the Freebirds?
No, I said earlier, I just said I'm a big fan of theirs. They started young and reached the top quickly because Michael could really talk, and Bam Bam was a great worker until he had his health issue.
If I may add something just real quick here, the Freebirds, this is about 78, maybe late 77, early 78, and this was when they were working for Nick before we saw him in Memphis last week.
Very
right.
good.
We figured out the Memphis debut was February 79.
Yeah, this predates that.
And then they went to Watts, and then they came to Georgia Championship.
And then the rest is history.
I'll tell you, when they came to Georgia, it was something totally different than I had ever seen. I'd never seen a tag team like that.
Totally unique. Richard is asking how we're doing. Everybody give us a thumb up. Thumbs up, everybody. Thumbs up, everybody. We're doing real good. Next picture, I will handle that one. The next picture coming up right now as it's 45-40. 45-40 is the next picture, and that's Jerry Lawler hitting the fabulous Jackie Fargo. That's his tag team partner, Jim White, holding him there. A great picture. And we'll go with the next picture, 45-41. We'll start with Pat. Identifying these four dudes.
If you'd swap the middle two, I'd say we'd go from worst to best, left to right. You got the fabulous George Fagoulis on the far left there, with Tojo, Jerry Jarrett, and the fabulous one, Jackie Fargo. And I love that. That's the Fargo hairstyle I loved.
Michael?
This is a Hall of Fame photo from, and
Mike
again.
Shields, I would think, or would it be from the guy in Gallatin? What's his name again?
Oh God, thank you. I'm not having a good day memory-wise today. The guy that wrote all the books. Gosh, okay, it'll come to me. George Lewis, of course, was being pushed at this point in time, and George never became as proficient in the ring. But the other three,
Scott Teal. Thanks, Adam.
Scott Teal, yes. That could be three faces on the Mount Rushmore of Southern wrestling. The three on the right, without a doubt.
Without a doubt, for sure. Next picture, and this is an interesting picture right now, and I will do this one. Referee Paul Morton, the fabulous Jackie Fargo, and Chris Cope. The next picture is 45-47. This is from the Andy Kaufman era, the very first match, because Jerry Lawler's manager at the time was the future nightmare, Danny Davis. Danny Davis and Jerry Lawler. And we'll go with Pat Trammell to discuss this classic Lawler drawing. The next image we have is 45-48. 45-48. And Pat, is this not tremendous? We'll go Pat, Chris, Doc, then Michael. Pat, this is wonderful.
That I've never seen that before. I have never ever seen that before, and I wish I had a full size to look at. I'll tell you, Lawler's a talented guy, as everybody knows, but really, really like that. Now here's the newspaper editor. Is that right? Is that
I'm
who the guy?
sorry?
Is that the newspaper editor there in the middle?
I would assume, but I would assume that's what that is. Yes,
Okay.
good catch there. See, Pat's the smartest guy on the panel. Now we'll go to Michael St. John.
You know, that reminds me of a drawing out of Mad Magazine. And in fact, when I was in Huntsville today, I stopped by one of my favorite stops just to take a break from a couple of meetings. I had a couple of seconds and ran into Barnes and Noble. And Mad Magazine has a brand new golden edition out. I didn't get it, but back when I was a young kid, I used to get Mad Magazine. And the guy that illustrated for Mad Magazine's covers actually worked for the company that I worked for in Los Angeles. But beyond that, that looks like a typical Mad Magazine kind of thing. But you talk about whoever mentioned the talent with Jerry Lawler. My God, how much talent could a person have in a lifetime? Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous.
Great picture. Do what, Pat?
No, I'm just laughing. That's right. Agreed.
Chris, quick take, real quick, about that great picture.
Yeah, great picture. His hand-eye coordination to be such a great artist is what made him great wrestler. His punches, because he could control his hands and eyes so well. His eyes controlled his coordination so well with his hands through his artistic work is what gave him that great skill.
I agree with that. How about you, Doc?
Oh yeah, that was exactly what I was going to say. He used his hands so well, and you could tell just looking at, if you'd ever seen a Lawler drawing before, you wouldn't have to be told that this was by Jerry Lawler. You could tell just from the style, which, as Michael said, is very reminiscent of Mad Magazine and some other, the cartoon magazines basically during the day. So yeah, it's impressive how talented Lawler is in so many different ways.
Next picture, I'll handle this one. It's 45-49. It is Al Green and Big Phil Hickerson. Don Green was taking some time off, and Sam Bass is the manager. And Michael, I'll throw it at you because I'm not 100% aware. Is this one not the Hippodrome, but the building after the Hippodrome? Was
the women's
building in Nashville?
Yes, this is the women's building at the fairgrounds. It burned. And then they moved into the what was the agriculture hall. But yeah, this is the women's building at the fairgrounds. And Sam Bass looks like he was involved in a get a head shaved match prior to this one. But if you notice, the roof was very low there. So there wasn't a lot of high spots in this in that arena.
Very interesting picture. And we go with 45.
Randy, before we move on, what year was that? What year was that?
I would guess 74, but it didn't say on the picture. Does anybody want to put any information on that? But I really think it was 74.
That's when Phil was teaming with Al Green because he joined up with Condrey in late 75 into 76.
So I think it's pretty safe to say, Pat, 74. As we go to our next picture, 45-50. And Michael, you listen to Jim Cornette a lot. As we go to look at 45-50, the next picture up, if we could go ahead and show that one, and that's not the one. So we'll look and see if I can find the picture, and I might not have it on there. And as we look at that one and the picture that I thought we had, we don't have, so we'll just...
Who are these two guys, Randy, or anybody?
Picture.
That's Danny Hodge and Hiro Matsuda. That's later on in the show. But NWA Junior Championship, one of the toughest son of a gun, strongest son of a guns I've ever seen in my life. Michael, talk about Hiro Matsuda, Danny Hodge, when the NWA World Junior title was a traveling championship. Here's Michael.
Absolutely. And Hiro Matsuda was, he made quite a name, and was one of those Japanese stars that he could work American style, but he also used that Oriental style and mixed it very, very well. They had that match all over the country. And Danny Hodge, for God's sakes, don't shake his hand. If you want to bring your hand back, don't shake his hand. That is the hardest handshake of any man I have ever shaken the hands of. But a wonderful, fantastic person. He did a lot for amateur wrestling in Oklahoma and was sort of he was sort of a training ground coming out of the University of Oklahoma, which just gave us tons of wrestlers back in the last half of the 20th century and the first half of the 21st century. And Danny Hodge was sort of the centrifuge of making all that come together. Outstanding. One of the wrestlers he trained was Dr. Death Steve Williams. And had his life not been cut short, he was an outstanding talent. But there was a ton of, in fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think he had some to do with Bill Watts getting into wrestling originally too, Randy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Danny Hodge was involved.
Ricky Morton tells a story about Danny Hodge, that they were in a bar in Tulsa, and a guy came up to Ricky because he was small and said, "So you're one of those fake wrestlers?" And that Danny got up and set his spear down and walked over and put him in some kind of hold. And the guy crapped himself and pissed himself and passed out. And Danny told the bouncers to drag his ass out. And said he came back down, sat down, and just started talking like it was nothing. Said the guy was about 6'5", probably 280, and Hodge just put him down like that.
Yeah, I've heard that story, and I would guarantee you it's true. I would guarantee you it's true.
And that's also true about University of Oklahoma being a wrestling powerhouse in those days. I actually wrestled in high school, and we had a very impressive wrestling program at Christian Brothers High School in those days. And we had recruiters coming from University of Oklahoma to look at the guys on our team to try to get them to go there. And that was felt to be, one of the premier amateur wrestling programs in the country at that time. I don't know whether it still is or not, but boy, it was back then.
Yeah. Next picture there, Adam Dunn. Next picture, and let's go right through that. We'll just go right to the next picture. So whatever you played last, play the next one and show the next one, and we'll get that going. This is Roger Kirby and Bullet Bob Armstrong, and one more shot of Harry Thornton. Next picture there on Talking Memphis Wrestling today. Very good picture there of Roger Kirby and Bob Armstrong. And this is a picture of Miss Sylvia Hackney as she was being introduced to the crowd at the Mid-South Coliseum on Memphis February night. Next picture, Adam Dunn. As this is Tommy Gilbert and Bearcat Brown saving Tommy Rich from Phil Hickerson and Dennis Condrey. Next picture on Talking Memphis Wrestling.
Who's the referee? Who was the referee there, Randy?
Yeah, that almost looked like a young Randy Hales. Who's the referee?
Buddy Diamond. It's Buddy Diamond.
Is it Buddy Diamond?
Oh.
Yes, sir.
All right. I didn't know that. That's why I have a panel here with me. That is a great thought. If there's any more pictures we hadn't seen, Adam, go ahead and put that up there. And we, of course, this is Danny Hodge and Hiro Masuda that became a partner in Eddie Graham's Championship Wrestling from Florida. This one, Michael, I'll let you introduce this if you know.
Henning and Race, one of the greatest tag teams to ever come out of the Midwest. Of course, Vern Gagne made a ton of money off of them later in life, but they really started out in Kansas City and St. Louis in the midsection of the country for Bob Gunkel and for Sam Munchnick. But look how young, handsome Harley Race was there.
Yeah, that was handsome Harley Race then.
Exactly, and then Larry Henning was the father of Mr. Perfect. And so, I mean, what a great combination. I never met Larry Henning, but I did meet Harley and worked with Harley a couple of times. And you guys know he's one of my true heroes in this business.
Great
wrestler on God's green earth.
Absolutely. Great picture. We are going to, as we're an hour and 5 minutes in and a lot more to go, but we're going to reset the show. And Adam, as a test here, I want us to go ahead and play the Fun Radio Open for Talking Memphis Wrestling as we're rolling through this. And we'll be back with great video from Randy Savage on Talking Memphis Wrestling.
Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hales is now streaming live on Fun Media at fun927.com and is always on Facebook, YouTube, X, Twitch, and at TV5Wrestling.com.
Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hales and special guests.
Continuing our Randy Savage story, we'll go to a match that highlight video of 4 minutes 20 seconds in 1984. This is Dutch Mantell, the Dirty Dutchman, the #1 citizen of Oil Trough, Texas. This is Dutch Mantell and Randy Savage, and we'll watch that right now on Talking Memphis Wrestling.
Shoulder puts Savage down. Dutch over the top. Little leapfrog. Whoa, he went up, and Mantell waited, nailed him when he... Pops that right hand. Watch out. Macho Man on the top turnbuckle. Drops down with both hands right on the neck.
Have you seen any of Savage and Dutch before?
Big clothesline.
I've seen a bit of it, yeah.
They had great chemistry.
They were great. Yeah, you could tell that 30 seconds into the end of this.
Listen to the crowd, peoples.
Mantell fighting his way back. Dutch Mantell going with that atomic knee.
Big crowd at the Memphis Mid-South Coliseum.
Randy, is this from the 70s, like 70s? This was before the split, right?
No,
this was early 80s.
Oh, early 80s. Because this is so reminiscent. Randy Savage and Dutch came to Nick's territory at the same time, and they went at it this way for over a year. And Nick made tons of money on those two.
Favorite Western hat.
It's over a cowboy hat, and the people going
Macho
crazy.
Man Randy Savage, Mid-American Heavyweight Champions. Attention, Dutch Mantell. Well, you got it. You can thank me all you want for not having your head in the hat when I smashed it. Yeah, smashed your hat, Dutch Mantell. But it ain't gonna make any difference, Dutch Mantell, because you're in the danger zone now, yeah. You mess with the Macho Man, and that's different from messing with anybody else, Dutch Mantell. You obviously don't know me. You obviously don't have the certain respect that you should have for the Macho Man Randy Savage. Well, I'm going to teach you that respect, yeah. You're in the danger zone, Dutch Mantell. No time limit, no disqualification. Mid-American Heavyweight Championship belt on the line. Yeah, and that's what makes me pick. Dutch Mantell, you're in the danger zone. Monday night at Memphis, Tennessee. Gonna teach you some R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Respect for the Macho Man.
Savage, this week we got a no time limit, no disqualification match, because that's the only way you won it last week. And I don't take
Adam,
kindly
you asked this
to people
question.
messing with my equipment or my property.
That's Randy West's
exactly what
initial
you did.
setup.
Now, this
Later
is a
on,
hat
it
I've had for
became
several
more
years right here, and I wear it on
sophisticated. But
occasion.
that's where
But
Randy
you showed
West
a total lack
worked
of
back in the
respect,
day.
Savage, when you stomped it right in the mat.
I
And
remember
I'm
that.
going to say one thing. Since you've laid your filthy, stinking hands and foot on it, I'll never wear this hat again, baby. That hat will go in the garbage can because I'm not going to touch it. But, Savage, I want you to bring Monday night, I want you to bring that big macho reputation. One more time is all I want. One more time you bring it into Memphis.
You see the
And
microphone
one thing
he's
also
holding,
bring that Mid-America belt and
the
bring
one we
that
have
old
right here with
ancient,
us
stinking
on
old man
set.
of yours, baby. Bring him in there. And when I win that belt, I want you to take him and that old man and get in that old Mercedes that's about 150 years old and haul it out of town, because I want you out of my hair and out of my life. I've held that belt before, and I fully intend to get it back. Savage, you show up Monday night, because I'm going to come looking for you, and when I'm looking, I usually find somebody, and I'm going to find you Monday night, Macho. You show up. I'll be there, baby.
Well, I don't think it
Todd,
comes as any
Todd is
surprise
saying
when
where
I tell you that
Angelo
Dutch
and Randy
Mantel has a
always a
habit of
package
doing
deal
what
in
he
Memphis
says
with
he's going to
Randy,
do, and
and
that's
that
going to
was
be
the
interesting to
agreement
see.
to come in. And Jerry Jarrett felt that the whole family would be feel more comfortable, and Jerry wanted to welcome the carpet, and Savage was great to do business with. We'll start with Chris Ellis, and that was some great stuff with Dutch Mantel. Dutch doesn't get the credit he does on this show, but overall he doesn't get the credit. He was brilliant to this business. He could work like a son of a gun. He could talk. He could do everything. Dutch Mantel was a great talent, Chris Ellis.
No doubt. Believability. Dutch had believability. When he said, he said what he meant what he said. And of course, watching Savage as part of that interview, his intensity and the way he would elevate his voice and make it more gravelly, and he just had that wild craziness. And they looked like they were beating the hell out of each other. I mean, that's what they look like, and that's what the people wanted to see, and that's what Memphis wrestling was a fight. It wasn't all this, high flying stuff. It was a fight.
Hey, Doc, any thoughts on Dutch Mantel and Randy Savage?
Yeah, watching the actual in-ring time reminded me that as good an athlete as Randy Savage was, Dutch was not far behind. He was keeping up move for move with Savage in that. And, even though he was not known, I guess, as being a great amateur, Dutch had been, I believe, in the Marine Corps or in the military somewhere before, coming to Memphis to be a wrestler. But he was keeping up pretty much with Savage. So that was a great match.
Pat, after hearing Chris and Rusty talk, any more stuff to say about that? Just great piece of business on Dutch Mantel.
Well, I'll tell you what, and I think because so many people homesteaded in Memphis, and obviously Dutch was, I would say, almost homesteaded, but certainly, one of the reasons that Lawler and Dundee had such great matches is because they were in the ring together so long. And but Dutch and Savage, I'm gonna go find some other stuff because that was great in ring work. It really was.
Excellent. And we left Michael St. John to sum up the feud between Dutch Mantel and Randy Savage. Started in the Nick Goulas area, and then they got right back at it there in Memphis in 83, 84. That video, Michael, was from 84. Your thoughts on Talking Memphis Wrestling?
That's sort of a love-hate relationship because once I got to know both of them, they really respected each other and really worked well with each other. But there was sort of a professional jealousy there too. And I always wondered why Dutch didn't go as far as Randy did, because Dutch had all the same credentials. He had he could work like a son of a gun. He could talk like a son of a gun and had the look. And I think it was more Dutch wanting to stay more grounded and closer to home. I think, and I'm not saying that because I've talked to Dutch about it, but I always wondered in my mind why Dutch did not achieve the high accolades and the national and worldwide prominence that Randy Savage did. The second thing I want to make note of is that Randy Poffo's dad, Angelo Poffo, in my opinion, and getting to know him and actually doing some announcing work for ICW back in the day and so forth, I thought Angelo Poffo was a he's a brilliant guy. He graduated from, I think, Duquesne University, but he was a brilliant guy, but he had a business mind. And that's why he had the respect of Nick Goulas. He had the respect of Jerry Jarrett. He had the respect of any promoter that went in. When he brought his son in, sometimes people would say, he's a pain in the ass, but he was a good businessman. And I think that was what the bottom line on the success totally of Randy Savage and the Poffo family was grounded in the fact that Angelo Poffo was such a great businessman.
Now, Savage was one of the first what was called a cool heel. People started popping for him. They switched him babyface. He teamed with Jerry Lawler. There's one of those good old wild TV5 brawls that happened with Randy Savage, Jerry Lawler, King Kong Bundy, and Rick Rude. What talent. Jerry Jarrett's on this video too. And Pat, you will love this. It's just a great piece of business. It's 6 minutes and 35 seconds. in length, and we'll do it on Talking Memphis Wrestling as we show now.
From all of the guys, Bill Watts and all of them, they really wanted something that would just let you have something you could keep in your house in there and let you know that they really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Jerry, that was a super night of action. And hey. All right, will you show some class?
Anytime you see a trophy on a wrestling show, you know it's going to be destroyed.
Yeah.
Good point.
The big Pro USA wrestling show in Memphis, right?
Yeah.
You're the big promoter, right? Well, let me tell you what you forgot. You forgot the two greatest pieces of talent in professional wrestling today.
84 did big business in Memphis. Big business. King Kong Bundy, Rick Rude, and Jimmy Hart, you know where they ended
I
up.
want to talk about it now.
Well, let's
Why were we on the card? Just give me a good. You'll never give me a good reason.
look hard.
I call your office. That Lone Lake secretary tells me you're out of town. I want to know why we were on the card.
Let's just discuss this where we're supposed to in the office.
No, right Let's discuss it right here, Jared. We can't find. Why were we on the card?
This is not the place to discuss business. Let's talk about it in the office.
Wherever we say we're going to discuss business, Judge, we're able to. Shut up, Lance. I want to know why Ravishing Rick Rude and King Kong Bundy weren't on the big card. We made fools of Savage and Lawler. Lawler was all over in the tournament. We beat his butt all over the United States, and you put him in a tournament, and he's going to be on the big show. What about your talent? What about the stars, Jared?
What are you trying to embarrass somebody? Why don't you do this?
I want the man to give me a straight answer.
Look.
I want a straight answer, Jared. That's all I want from you.
I had some nominations to be on the card. So did all of the other 6 promoters. There was a select committee of which I wasn't even a part of that chose the talent. I recognize y'all, or I wouldn't have you working for this company, as 2 of the top talents in the country. But I didn't pick the talent for that program.
Yeah, but where was your stooge? Your little stooge, Jerry Lawler, was right there. On every tape, Lawler was there. Every match, every tape, Jerry Lawler was there. And you have $2 million pieces of talent, and we weren't there.
Money will take this up in the office.
Why don't you just let it lie?
Hey,
listen.
we'll take it up right here, Jared.
Come on.
People know what's going on here. Why, Jerry Lawler over here? Jerry Lawler.
Yeah, BLLB in the chat. Boy, I was going to comment the same thing. Rick Rude had that tremendous body.
Jerry Lawler. When you got a 450-pound brick house and a 240-pound brick house, you can do whatever you want.
No, I don't know. I don't disagree with him.
You don't walk away on King Kong Bundy and Ravishing Rick Rude.
I'll agree on Rude, but not on Bundy.
What made this work, guys, this is a real fight. Absolutely. It's unpredictable. It's crazy. Jerry's gonna get his damn trophy.
Yeah, Jerry's taking his trophy. He's got to put Clark's head in that trash can. Watch.
Here comes the trophy.
Listen to the reaction of the people, Chris.
Good. Hitting again.
Wait, said Jared hit him again.
Talking about Hart.
Yeah, talk about Jimmy Hart.
Come on, Hart.
Uh-oh.
Hart was tremendous.
Hart, get these guys out of here, will you?
as studio brawls go, this is more realistic than a lot of them when you think about it. This is much more realistic. And Randy, I think you're right. It's just a bar fight.
Very good. Excellent. Pat, have you seen this before?
I've never seen this before.
Yeah, I remember when this was on TV. I watched it then. I was just as impressed then. Look at him taking down the ball.
Look at Coach
there's
Bob
Coach
Crone, the coach, the floor director. Do you see Coach Bobby? Michael?
Yeah, I do.
Coach Crone was my baseball coach in high school at Christian Days High School.
There's been a lot of great studio brawls. This, because of its length and its believability, is one of the better ones, guys. Michael?
Totally agree. And everything's believable about it. Everything. Now Lance trying to get it at heart. This is really good. The fans have
just going crazy.
The crowd has gone banana.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's Tojo.
And the people, the reaction for it sustained as Dutch comes out, period of time, this is amazing. I've watched it before, Pat, obviously maybe 100 times. This is one of the best brawls ever from studio.
Yeah, we'll try to get this settled down. Let's take a break.
You know, one of the things about Memphis is like nowhere else, and I think I've talked in the past kind of about my good fortune to have a lot of separate TV channels when I was younger. You know, you might have a push and a slap and a hit, and then but you never had a full-scale brawl on TV on any other wrestling show. And I'm thinking about Georgia Championship. I'm thinking about South Alabama. I'm thinking about, Sterling Brewer. None of that. None of that.
Todd Alexander asked, could studio wrestling ever get over like that? Again, I know like the Channel 5 studio, they took the wrestling studio out. There's not a place to do it. Also, it's like Fort Knox at Channel 5. And I don't know the TV stations in Alabama, Michael. It's like Fort Knox. There's gates all around. I don't think a lot of TV stations would let the general public, like 200 strangers, get in that building. How would you answer this question from Todd?
I agree with you, Randy. And in this day and time of the violence that occurs just on the spur of the moment, I mean, back then it took you had to get the crowd worked up. Well, now the crowd's worked up before they come into the building. I think that's the difference. And as far as the security, everybody in this area, Birmingham, Nashville, Huntsville, just about everybody has security guards now. Even the two major radio companies that have major complexes in Nashville, like you say, it's like going into Fort Knox. But I don't think you will ever see the days where this kind of wrestling can be put forth in the TV studio. But I do have a question of you, Randy. I get from time to time, I get notes from the Memphis wrestling show that's being taped somewhere. Is that in a TV studio somewhere that they're doing, or is that just they're doing it in a place and then they show it on TV?
That's how they do it. Yes.
Gotcha. I don't think there's a live wrestling show in any wrestling company, independent or large scale, in a television station studio anywhere, literally in the world these days.
Randy Savage debuted in Memphis in December of 1983. Then, as we said earlier, he was switched. Babyface, teamed with Lawler, was a hero, switched him back heel then in 1985. Randy Savage got the phone call from Vince McMahon, and he was ordered when he was given a contract, said you have to come right now, you can't give a notice. And Randy Savage said, Jerry Jarrett hired my ass when nobody else would. He said, I'm going to do business the right way. And that goes, Michael, from the businessman Angelo Poffo had. On this card, on June the 3rd, 1985, 9,000 people with Tom Ernesto officially the booker, but the person booking was Jerry Jarrett. The opening match was Adrian Street against Brad Batten, Billy Travis and Ron Sexton against Speedy Talltree and his partner, the Mexican Angel against Mark Batten, J.R. Hogg against Jay Youngblood, Jerry Oski against Lanny Popo, Southern Tag Team Championship, Coco Ware and Norvell Austin, the Pretty Young Things against Tojo Yamamoto and Jerry Jarrett. That went 21 minutes. Then the Fabulous Ones against Bad Leroy Brown, Kareem Muhammad, and Bruiser Brody. That just went 2 minutes and 14 seconds. A cage match with Tux Newman against Jackie Fargo, 3 minutes and 14 seconds. And in a loser leave town match, as Savage was leaving to go to New York, Randy Savage against Jerry Lawler. We have about 22 minutes of it, but it was a 30-minute and 22-second match. But real quick thoughts as we lead up to that loser leave town match, guys. The run of Randy Savage went from December of '83 to June the 3rd of 1985, and it was very memorable. We'll start with Pat.
That's a great. Who is Tux Newman? I never heard of it.
His name was Scott Walton. He was one of the promoters and publicity guys for the Los Angeles Mike LaBelle Wrestling Group. And you should look it up on YouTube. He was here because he was friends with Tom Renesto. He was here for about 3 months.
Okay.
Oh boy, I thought it was longer than that, Randy. I remembered Tux Newman pretty well as a manager in Memphis on local TV. I guess he didn't make it over to many of the other cities in the promotion, though.
It wasn't that. It was just a down period. He came in when Renesto was booking, and some people just don't understand the Memphis style. So even though Tom had tremendous back history and good history of big business, he really didn't understand the Memphis style. What did you think about Randy Savage in Memphis, Chris Ellis?
All right. I guess it went so well and it was so hot that I didn't realize it was a year and a half because it didn't seem that long. Because it didn't seem like he was there very long. But he was so good. I mean, I'm not surprised at all that Vince took him. And then as far as Tux Newman goes, he wasn't there very long. And the only thing I remember about him is Sweet Daddy Siki. He did a deal with Sweet Daddy Siki when Siki came in, and they did a deal where he's friends with Lawler and all that. And I wasn't impressed with Tux Newman.
To tell you what, that'd be a good college fake name though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You're creative. Don't say Pat Trammell wouldn't be a good booker because.
No, I had a couple of nom de guerres in college.
All right. Hey, we are going to cut off the cards of the week. We'll bring them back next week because we have a 22-minute, 32-second video that we're going to show. This is the end of the era. We just read that card a little earlier from June the 3rd, 1985. 9,000 people at the Mid-South Coliseum. Loser leave town. Randy Savage, Jerry the King Lawler. This is cut down from a 30-minute match. This is a 22-minute. I'll look exactly and I will give you the 32 seconds. 22 minutes, 32 seconds. Our microphones will be hot during this whole show. What a hell of a way to finish up our Randy Savage, Jerry Lawler feud in Memphis Wrestling to the final match they had up to that point before Savage became a worldwide star. It's Randy Savage. We watched
Boys, a crowd up for this one. Big crowd, Mid-South Coliseum, Memphis, Tennessee. Southern heavyweight title, no time limit, no disqualification. Loser leave town for a minimum of 1 year, and the referee is stationed not in the ring, but on the outside of the ring.
Who's that handsome guy sitting next to
Randy
Lance?
Savage over making comments.
Do what, Chris?
Who's that handsome guy sitting next to Lance?
The owner, the founder, Pat, the president of Power Pro Wrestling. I had a good seat, wouldn't you think, Pat?
Right there by it.
Right beside the best of all time. And Michael, on big matches, who was better than Lance Russell?
None. I will address something, though, and Coach made this point earlier in the show. In Chattanooga, Harry Thornton was equal to Lance Russell in Memphis. In Birmingham, for a long period of time, Sterling Brewer was equal to Lance Russell. In the Carolinas, that was the beauty of the territories, because every announcer was revered. And when you think about it, whether they were good on mic, bad on mic, or they were great broadcasters or not so great broadcasters, each territory had their announcer, and that was their guy, period. And of course, Lance eclipsed everybody. Now, looking back on it, Lance was just so much better than everybody else.
Good point. If you do the inside the ropes analysis of this match, you can't really, if you can in any way, guys, pick this apart. These are two of the best, and a very important part of a wrestling match, especially a single wrestling match, is chemistry between the two wrestlers and the intelligent level as a wrestler that the two wrestlers are. And they, Michael, they weren't two smarter wrestlers than Randy Savage and Jerry Lawler.
Oh, absolutely not. And then you're looking at and right here, I mean, they're not at the peak of their careers. They're still on the ascend. And I think where their careers went from this point to 10 years after this point was just absolutely phenomenal. And when we talk of these two guys, perhaps, and we talk of Jerry a lot on this show, but we probably don't give Jerry his due as for how good a worker Jerry was. We knew about his facial expressions, we knew about his promos, we knew about his mind, but physically the guy could go also.
Hit somebody in the first row. He is wild.
You know, Michael, I think I agree, and I think part of the reason was because Jerry just never had really that great physique. You know, he looked like a regular guy, kind of. But he could work, you know, better than anybody.
Well, I don't think there's anybody that would argue that after Fargo, he had the best punch in wrestling. Without a doubt, had the best punch in wrestling. And he got it from Fargo. But, you know, you look at his everything about he did. There was very few matches that Jerry was ever not good at, even at spot shows. And God knows I was in Gallatin, Tennessee at the high school gym, and in Portland, Tennessee, and Springfield, Tennessee, and Red Boiling Springs, and all those towns up there that Jerry make an appearance. And Jerry was always on. Once he came through that curtain or came out of that doorway, he was always on and gave the people what they came to see for. And for that by itself, he should be in every Hall of Fame, every wrestling Hall of Fame in the world.
Hey, Pat, I asked you this question a lot. I don't remember showing this on this program before. Have you ever seen video of this Loser Leave Town match, Savage and Lawler?
I've seen highlights of it. I don't think I've ever seen the whole thing.
We got 17 minutes and 38 seconds left in this video. It's a 30-minute match. And you hear Michael explain the buzz of the audience that's different than a regular, normal crowd noise reaction.
Well, they're frenzied. They came for this match. I mean, this is why they bought the ticket. And the anticipation, it's on last. There's excitement in the air. There's probably a few beverages that have been consumed in the building. And it's one of those, either legally or illegally, but it's one of those situations that you build up. It's like a crescendo. You know, the audience, the orchestra, bringing it up to the point of where the place is going to explode. And it's you see it in other sporting events in prize in professional boxing. You see it as you come up to the main event. I'm sure I haven't been to an MMA fight, but I'm sure it's the same way. In horse racing, it's the same way. You know, when you're leading up to the Kentucky Derby or the Preakness or the Remsen or whatever the big race is, that crowd, that buzz, that excitement, that people talking among themselves, it just gets to that crescendo. And unless they give a disappointing performance, it continues to build and build. And that's what these guys work on. They take it from where it's at and then bring it into, you know, sheer madness, as most of these matches end up.
The other thing, I think the emotion involved in this match was tension, because this was only like a year and a half after Dundee left, losing a loser lead town. So I think it became a possibility to see one of the two main stars of Memphis get beat and leave, because we've seen it happen. So I think there's some anxiety with this as well, because Savage had been so impressive.
Just a kind of a brawl this is going to be. Savage stumbling to the apron.
You know, I don't think there was anybody that came to the match thinking that Lawler was going to lose, but there are points in this match where, by golly, it looks like Lawler's going to lose.
And Randy down on the concrete, doubled over.
So this was June of '85, I believe. Is that correct, Randy?
Absolutely.
Okay.
This was a June event. This was at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee. Loser leave town, 9,000 people. June the 3rd of 1985, 9,000 people.
2 years from Lawler Dundee loser leads town on the similar Monday night, first Monday of the month in June.
Holding on to the chair.
This is almost exactly the same time I was leaving Memphis. I just had medical school graduation. I was like, it must have been June 1st, because it was on a Saturday right before this of '85, and I started as an intern at Charity Hospital in New Orleans on July 1st of that year. So I probably was already in the process of moving on this match.
Incredible athlete. A little weird between the ears, but as far as the athletic,
Pat, I added something to the show just because you've never heard of Tux Newman. There's a 3-minute, 30-second video, and after we discuss this match, after it's over, we will, in fact, show you Tux Newman coming up on Talking Memphis Wrestling. How about that? We're getting the video quick. Adam's not the only one who can do that.
I'll tell you what, I've had a lot of non-majors in my time, but Tux Newman's a great one.
Stipulation. Stay with us. Don't you leave, because we'll be back with the finish of it right after these words.
Now, what was the rationale behind having the referee on the floor?
That was just kind of an old school little deal, Pat. Michael, you might can help me too. So the referee, probably in the match they had before, was a factor in the match, or might have been knocked down or something like that. It's just a booking tool that was used. Can I say it any better than that, Michael?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. A referee probably got involved in the last match, and they took him and put him on the floor to let the crowd sort of. It's a different gimmick, but you're absolutely right, Randy. It didn't really make a difference. I've seen, in fact, I think there was one match in Memphis, and I'm trying to remember in '76 or early '77, where Lance Russell was the special referee on the outside of the ring, and he had a football referee shirt on with a whistle. And every time somebody would the heel would do something, he would blow the whistle. And there was a referee in the ring as well. And that was a pretty cool stipulation back then, too.
You know, the truth, I remember the match. I didn't look at this video when I uploaded the thing. I didn't know we had a 5-minute commercial. You see the Wrestling Heroes and Villains, the magazine they're selling here, and I like, as we see the names, Antonio Rocca, Luthez, all the Gorgeous George, Killer Kowalski, the Crusher, Lou Albano, Freddie Blassie, and Buddy Rogers, the Volkovs. This is cool stuff we're seeing on that commercial, Mr. Trammell.
Yep.
I bet you're already writing that damn phone number down.
Yep. We'll see who answers. $49.95. Wow.
And
That was
nobody
big
has
money.
video.
That was big money back in those days.
That was big. $50 for 2 VHS tapes was big money in '85.
A 6-pack was $275.
And let's go back to the audio of the action for this match, as we are about 11 minutes away from the end. We'll see who leads Memphis. I bet I'll put my money on somebody, and I bet I'll win. If anybody's dumb enough to take me up on the thing, because you already see in that video, I am there at ringside.
Yeah, I don't think Las Vegas offered a line on this match.
And they're both suffering from that. Waller up.
Richard is saying you can check out Tux Newman on the California Championship Wrestling on YouTube, and I've never watched that before. So that's someplace for us to look at, Pat. Thank you, Richard.
Up steam now. Here's Savage missing a wild swinging right.
Look how Savage sells those punches. Show me a wrestler today that sells like Savage did.
Into the ring post as Savage jumps out of the way. Jerry hit his shoulder, his left shoulder, right on that ring post. Savage a knee to the lower spine.
Approaching the 30-minute mark of the match, the people are blown up, Michael. The people still into this match.
Absolutely. How many of them are standing? You know, ringside are sitting, but there are tons of them standing throughout this match.
You know, Vince Russo in the Attitude Era was a big advocate of the fact that people would not watch a wrestling match on television past 4 or 5 minutes. I 100% disagree. I think two great wrestlers like Savage and Waller, they would watch an hour match easily. Don't you think? Even today.
Absolutely.
I agree.
I think they're too short today.
I agree with you, Pat.
I think the problem is that they're 45 minutes into the show before you see a wrestling match.
And that's crazy.
And AEW is getting as bad as the NWA or the WWE on it.
Sometimes worse.
Just the ring entrances are often longer than the match itself.
Savage comes off, nails him again. Savage cranking up. The referee trying to look at Lawler's eye. And the referee saying it's a bad cut. But he's not going to be stopping this match. Boy, Jerry is covered with blood. When he hit that table, he apparently busted the eye, his right eye wide open.
Watching this program. Everybody, I'll cool down today. Didn't have to work out in the heat. It was a brutally hot day, and currently right now at 8:43 in Jonesboro, Arkansas, 80 degrees and clear.
You know, we're watching something right here, and it brings to a point that I've always thought wrestling fell down on back in the day, is when somebody would be lacerated or cut or hurt. Sometimes they would make a big deal out of it and stop the match. Other times they'd let it go until somebody almost bled to death. There was no continuity anywhere in any territory about it. And I don't even know if it's that way this day and time. Certain matches, they'll stop a match because of too much blood or because the man is in danger of being hurt badly. And then sometimes they just let it roll. And I guess that's just up to the promoter. Is that right, Randy?
That's exactly right. Great point.
No disqualification.
You know, Michael, I've heard Jim Cornette talk about that. He used to say, or still says, I guess, that back in the day, part of the reason for that was the various state athletic commissions, some of whom, kind of were real strict on that, and others, really weren't.
The only match I ever did in Chicago, they had a physician at ringside, and he was at the scores table, the announce table. That's good juice there. That was there in case of a situation. I'm sure that was part of the Illinois Athletic Commission or whatever. But that was the first time. I won't say it's the only time, but it's the first time I ever worked a show where there was a legit licensed physician right there at ringside.
Attacks the eye savagely. And the referee trying to keep him back. The referee says ring the bell and declaring Savage the winner. The winner as the referee in 28 minutes and 43 seconds. The winner is the Macho Man Randy Savage, and Lawler has lost this loser leave town battle. Says he stopped the match and that Savage is the winner. I don't see how he stopped this contest, but he did. He said Lawler was in danger of losing the eye. And so the winner in 28 minutes 43 seconds, Randy Savage. Where's the house mic? Lawler talking now to the referee.
Working up a frenzied crowd to a frenzy.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Here comes Tom Ernesto down. Let's see if we can find out what's happening. Ernesto is
Randy, is that you sitting there at the desk?
Yes.
Tom Ernesto stayed at the Holiday Express last night. I guess he's a doctor.
Said if he can beat me in the middle of the ring, he's welcome to it.
Where's Mr. Coffee when you need him?
And
he restarted Dundee's in similar circumstance.
Tom Ernesto asking Lawler, do you want to go on? Lawler says, yes, I want to go on. I'll take all the responsibility.
You know, it's stuff the fans do in the ring.
And notice nobody's left the arena, Michael.
No, the afterbirth on this is really good.
So we took a hiatus at 28 minutes and 43 seconds. Tom Ernesto, after checking Lawler's eye, advised him not to continue. But Lawler said, if he beats me, so be it, but I can't have it given to him. Lawler said he would assume any responsibility for whatever happened to the eye. And Ernesto said, well, let it go. And they resumed battling again. Savage nailed him with an elbow, and Lawler snaps the strap down.
So Randy, was Tom Ernesto there at that time to be the booker, or what? Why was he brought in at that point?
Jerry Jarrett wanted to try somebody different, and Randy Savage made a pitch for Ernesto, who had been a successful booker, including for Nick, and so gave it a get go. But he realized real quickly that Tom didn't understand Memphis, and so Jarrett actually was booking, and Tom was the assistant. Yay!
Baby's in the air.
At 30 minutes
What a
and
pop.
22 seconds, the winner and new
Everybody on their feet.
title holder, Jerry Lawler.
9,000 people.
Unbelievable. Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis. I want quick takes here. We're going to introduce Pat Trammell in a minute to Tux Newman, but first we'll go around the horn. We'll start with Chris, then go with Pat, then Doc, then Michael. And so Chris, Pat, Doc, and then Michael is what we'll do right now. This was a great show themed on Randy Savage and Jerry Lawler that ended up with Randy Savage leaving Memphis, but don't feel sorry for him. He became a huge mainstream star. Your thoughts on what we covered with Story A, our lead for this program, Savage in Memphis?
Well, as we said, Savage was a great talent, went on to be a megastar. That match right there was two Hall of Famers, two great talents, and 9,000 people who were invested because nobody left, and they all went nuts when it ended. So that's what wrestling should be. That's a synopsis or a snapshot of what wrestling could be and should be.
No doubt about it. And Rashad asking the attendance, it was 9,000 people. Doc, quick words, quick thoughts on Savage, Lawler, and Memphis starting December 83, and it was all over June of 85.
You know, if anybody ever doubted how good we had it in Memphis, all you had to do was watch this match to realize. And we probably didn't even really realize at the time how tremendous these guys were and how good we had it in Memphis just on a regular basis. You know, there was always guys. I mean, not maybe not at the level of Savage, but we always had talented guys go through. And, you know, Randy was, as you said, you know, right up there with among the best. You know, not a surprise at all that he did as well as he did after seeing how good he was.
Pat, Randy Savage in Memphis.
You know, it's the thing that impressed me about that at the end of the match, and I've never seen, and you know, you've got a baby face and you've got a heel and you've got a local hero and all that kind of stuff. I've never seen. The only thing I saw come halfway close was Dusty one time in Atlanta, but the entire Mid-South Coliseum jumped in the air when Lawler got the pin. I mean, there wasn't anybody there that was not emotionally invested.
Michael, real quick, final words on Lawler and Savage in Memphis, and one final video with Tux Newman coming up after that.
Underrated in the scheme of things. It was all the great, wonderful wrestling we saw in Memphis. This was underrated because when you look at it and you get to review these matches now, you really see what great stars we were witnessing, future stars in our own midst as big stars back then.
Love the talk on Randy Savage, Jerry Lawler, all the great action we had today. And we're introducing Pat Trammell to a new wrestling manager talent to Memphis. It's about a 3-minute, 30-second video. He was managing several people, including the PYT Express. As we watch now, our last video of the day on Talking Memphis Wrestling, Tux Newman. And I don't know if we've lost Adam Dunn or not. We could have lost Adam Dunn because he's usually right on the money. And so here we go, as I'll get it.
It looks like the surprises never end. You've got
There
additional
we go.
talent coming in, I understand.
Surprises! I love them. I love every one of them. I got so many of them that I just don't know how many I got. That's how many I got. And I'll tell you something. Here's a surprise for you fans. And I'm telling you, my PYT, they are absolutely fantastic. I'm talking about Norvell, Austin, and Coco Ware. When you see, even these morons here recognize great talent. And that's the only thing that the great Tux Newman handles is great talent.
Well, I think they're very aware of Norvell, Austin, and Coco Ware. And we had some words from the pair of the PYT, the new acquisition of Tux Newman, Hollywood entrepreneur.
Lots of money. There was lots of money there. They wanted lots of money. They got lots of money. You ought to take a look at these men.
Let's do it.
Lance Russell, Dave Brown, listen up. You hear that music? It means one thing. The pretty young things are on their way back to Memphis, Tennessee.
That's right, baby. You know, we just like the Jackson. We've been on tour, baby. We've been to Louisiana, and we whooped everything in Louisiana. We've been to Dallas, Texas, and we whooped everything in Dallas, Texas. We've been down here in Tampa, Florida, and we've been whooping everything down here in Tampa, Florida. Now we're going back to Memphis, Tennessee to clean up the city. So, baby, get ready. Pick up the phone and call somebody, because the pretty young things, baby, they're on their way back home, baby, to get down. Right, Norvell? Exactly right. Mr. Stoley and Lance Russell and Dave Brown, all of y'all, and all of y'all ladies, I know y'all been dying for us to come back. Well, we on our way, baby. And since we've been gone, I'm going to tell you one thing. I have created a monster. Y'all never should have let this man get away, because I done showed him the ropes, baby. We bad, and we can't be had, and we coming back to Memphis, Tennessee to get down, because it's our hometown. You know, Norvell, there's a team called the Fabulous Ones. There's a team called the Rock and Roll Express. There's a team called, we don't care what they call, but you know what? We're going to take care of business. So Dave Brown, Lance Russell, if you guys think y'all can handle the pretty young thing, put a pair of wrestling tights on, baby, and take care of us, because you know what? We're kicking down Van Street, baby. Exactly right. And we got an undefeated record, baby. We ain't been beat by nobody, and we don't intend to come home to get beat. So all you big bad dudes out there, get ready, because here we come. And you know what, Jerry Lawler? If you want a piece of the action, all you got to do is sign your name on the dotted line, baby, because you're going down just like the rest of them. Be ready and be square, because the pretty young thing, baby, they're live and in color. So we'll see y'all in Memphis, Tennessee.
All right, Lance, that's it. They're on their way.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Gordon. I think we'll say one thing about it. They are talent. They can wrestle. They are bad. I don't like their attitude, and I don't know whether we're happy to see them come back here or not.
You know what's happening right at this very moment? The Fabs. I can hear them right now. Their knees are knocking. They're shaking, you know. They're afraid. The Fabs. And I'm talking about the Dolly sisters, Stephanie and Stan Arena. Are you shaking, aren't you?
Okay, Tux.
They're coming back.
We got action.
PYT!
We got action coming up. Let's go to the ring for our next bout. And here's...
All right, reaction to that video and your final take of the program today. Here's Pat Trammell.
I guess I've seen all of Tux Newman I need to see. Pretty Young Things were they were a really good athletic tag team, and I like watching them for sure. Richard, to answer your question about better fan reaction, Dusty or Lawler, both great, but Lawler was week in, week out forever. Dusty had his runs, but you can't overestimate what Lawler did week in and week out in Memphis. Great show today.
Final take of Chris Ellis.
It's a great show. Randy Savage, one of the all-time greats. And I always liked Norvell, but Tux Newman, Pat, you just saw 10% of his work in Memphis right there, that brief clip. That's one of his 10 appearances.
Okay. That's enough.
Pat, you've done your. Who is Michael?
Oh, I can do it.
Take?
I will be devil's advocate and say
Please.
I didn't think Tux Newman was that bad.
I thought he sucked
for whatever reason. I don't know. I thought Tux was good. Good for the.
Say it again, RH, for the people in the back.
Say that again.
Say it again, RH, for the people in the back. You thought he what?
He sucked.
Yeah, amen. Amen.
I guess it's safe to say that Tux Newman will not be going into the Memphis Hall of Fame at any given time, correct?
Unless that goofy ass Kevin Lawler does it behind my back. He very well might do that. Final take. Are we down? Anybody? William, did you have a final take or did you already do one?
I again withdraw my comment on Tux Newman.
Okay, good. Then you're still allowed to come back on the show that next week will not be on Tuesday. It will be on Wednesday because I was going to be at a volleyball team. One of your referee buddies about kicked me all out of the gym this past week, and he about got the Randy Hales Wrestling Randy last week. About got it.
I'm a basketball referee. I don't know anything about volleyball.
Okay. Final take, reaction to this show, reaction to next Wednesday that you won't be a part of. Final take to Savage and Lawler. Wrap it up, and then I'll close us out. Here is the great Michael St. freaking John.
Well, first of all, great job, Adam. Great job, Randy, on the content of this program was awesome. And panel, when we're all together, I got news for you. I love it when we're all together. This is a party and a half. Love the levity, and just a great show. Thank you, Randy, for allowing me to be a part of it. Chris and Coach and Doc and Pat, you guys are so close to me. I respect and love you guys, each and every one, with so much of my being these days. I absolutely love coming up and doing these shows on Tuesday nights. It's a oasis in the desert sometimes. But I do want to say one thing on a serious note, and I didn't realize this. I had a monitor running during the show. Did you guys realize Robert Redford died? He was one of my favorite actors.
That was earlier today.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite actors. He always portrayed good, clean, wholesome, great movies, and he was a great director as well. But hate to see the loss of a great one in Robert Redford. But my prayers are to each and every one of you, and a prayer too for our good friend Jerry Lawler. He's been through some tough times again, and he's making a comeback as Jerry always does. That strap is down, and we love you, Jerry, and our prayers are with you.
One little quick business, because Wednesday night next week, no show next Tuesday because of a ball game I'm doing. We know that Dr. Robinson is out. He will be being a music star. Michael St. John will be in Tennessee next week. Pat, how are you next Wednesday? And Chris, how are you? We'll start with Pat first.
I think I'm okay. I'm at the mercy of whoever can dial a damn telephone, but I think I'm okay right now.
How about you? How's your schedule, Chris?
It should be fine.
That is great. This is fun. The band was back together again, and part of the band will be here next Wednesday night. Adam, you did a wonderful job. We're back on Fun Radio. We're broadcasting now. Is the guy's name Adam?
Chad,
thank you very much. And of course, thanks to Adam Dunn. We'll see everybody next Wednesday on Talking Memphis Wrestling. Good night, everybody. So long.